There are a number of fake quotes out there circulating around that are misattributed to Rene Descartes, and with some of them you can tell just by looking at them because of the language or the sentiments that they don't really fit in well with Descartes' style or his philosophy. Some of them are actually closer to Descartes' ideas, but not things that are actually said by him. So there's still fake quotes, even if perhaps in spirit they're something Descartes could have said. If an author didn't actually say it, attributing it to them is in effect engaging in whatever we want to call it, fake quotery. Something along those lines. We perhaps need a neologism to describe what is going on. So let's look at these fake quotes. I've got 10 of them for you, and then a bonus quote that is technically fake, although technically it is something that Descartes did say in his works. So here is the first one. Everything is self-evident. Now, would Descartes be saying this? It's a little weird if you know anything about his method, which begins with methodological or hyperbolic doubt, where you don't say that everything is indeed self-evident. As it turns out, even what you thought was self-evident upon examination turns out not to be so. So why would anybody who knows anything about Descartes possibly attribute this to Descartes or share it on their sites as something that Descartes is saying? I don't know, but we do have some places where something like this is being said, just not in Descartes' works. So for example, one of the places is Bertrand Russell's work, Mysticism and Logic and Other Essays, but he is not saying everything per se is self-evident. As a matter of fact, I don't think you could find a single philosopher anywhere who is. What Russell says is, now in the beginnings, everything is self-evident, and it is very hard to see whether one self-evident proposition follows from another or not. And he's not talking about life in general, he's actually talking about mathematics. So that, I think, takes care of that first one. This second one has a little bit more plausibility to it. Doubt is the origin of wisdom. Often the people who are going to quote this or put out little graphics with it in there will include the Latin Dubium, sapientiae, initium, right? And so this is often attributed to Descartes, but you can search his works and you won't actually find this. Very often it's attributed to his Meditations on First Philosophy, but the quote is not actually found in that work. You can find it in a footnote of the sayings of Publius Syrius, but, you know, that doesn't give you very much. And you could say, well, how did this actually wind up in circulation? Well, it does sound like something that a Cartesian might say, right? If you want to get to wisdom, you do actually have to pass through doubt. You can't just assume that things are the way that you have been told they are or think they are. Okay, that seems pretty Cartesian, but he just doesn't say that doubt is the origin of wisdom. And as a matter of fact, Descartes doesn't want you to remain in doubt if you pay attention to what's going on in his works. Our third is from a much more recent work. We do not describe the world we see the world we can describe. By the way, this one also gets attributed, weirdly enough, to John Searle. Not sure what the connection there is between attributing it to Descartes or to Searle, but as a matter of fact, this is very recent. It first appeared in a book called Synchronicity, The Inner Path of Leadership by Joseph Jaworski, published in 1996. So this is a very recent quote. Not sure how this winds up getting misattributed to somebody like Descartes. He wouldn't be using the term describe in terms of epistemology. That is language that would be showing up much later. And the sentiment itself is a little bit weird to try to shoehorn into Descartes' philosophy. Here's our fourth one. To know what people really think, pay attention to what they do rather than what they say. This not only gets attributed to Rene Descartes, but also to Jean-Paul Sartre, George Santayana, and a whole bunch of other people as well who aren't necessarily philosophers. And this is essentially a commonplace of philosophy that was around over a millennia before Descartes comes on the scene. You can see similar things being said, for example, in Seneca or Plutarch, maybe not with exactly that formulation, but the idea that you want to look at what people do rather than what they say is pretty ubiquitous. As it turns out, Descartes doesn't say this in his actual writings. I mean, he may have said it to somebody offhand in a conversation, but to attribute it to Descartes is kind of silly. It's sort of like all the attributions of know thyself to Socrates or Aristotle when it came from the Delphic maxim and everybody already knew it. So this is not a Descartes quote. Our fifth one is another where if you know anything about Descartes' vocabulary, you can tell right off the bat this is not by Descartes. An optimist may see a light where there is none, but why must the pessimist always run to blow it out? Okay, that's pretty modern, and I mean late modern, way after Descartes' early modernity language. The contrast between optimism and pessimism, that's a later phenomenon that we see. And as it turns out, this is attributed to a author who is a 20th century French writer, Michel de Saint-Pierre, who was a right-wing author who fought in World War II and then participated literarily in the Vichy regime, quoted in Cryptograms and Spygrams by Norma Gleason in 1981. Then it gets attributed to Descartes, God only knows why, by Christopher Berglund in, of all things, The Athlete's Way, Training Your Mind and Body to Experience the Joy of Exercise. Now, what sort of connection there would possibly be between Descartes and exercise, I don't really know, but apparently Berglund thought there was. Our sixth fake quote: whenever anyone has offended me, I try to raise my soul so high that the offense cannot reach it. This is something that is, you could say, compatible with certain aspects of Descartes' thought, but as far as we can tell, he says this nowhere in his works, and it doesn't seem like something that he would actually say in those terms. Raising his soul so high, the offense cannot reach it. I can think of a lot of other authors where that sort of language would be more appropriate, but we don't see it in their works either. You know, those who talk about magnanimity, that is great souledness, might have something like that. So, for example, Cicero in discussing courage and great souledness in On Duties, or Seneca or other people. But in point of fact, we don't see that in their works either. So I'm not quite sure where this one has come from. Our seventh is kind of a curious one. People would get rid of half their problems if they could agree on the meaning of words. So this one, you're not going to find out there circulating around as a graphic. You will find a lot of people citing this in books, and apparently, this has a life of its own over in Russian discourse, where it gets attributed as sort of a proverb to Descartes. Now, interestingly, Descartes says some things that are kind of in the neighborhood of this in his rules for the direction of the mind. He says, in the majority of matters on which the learned dispute, the question is almost always one of names. So you do have majority, half. Okay, that might be similar. Question is almost always one of names, the meaning of those names. But he isn't saying that, quote, explicitly. He also also says almost all controversy would be removed from among philosophers if they were always to agree as to the meaning of words. So there we have a stronger case for the second part of it, but a weaker case, interestingly, because of that almost all, not half, but almost all in the first part of that formulation. There is also a letter to Mersenne where Descartes proposes a universal language, an idea that was floated by quite a few people based on the true philosophy, which of course is his philosophy. He actually calls it that in some other places, and he's not the only person. Thomas Hobbes calls his own philosophy the only true moral philosophy. So, long story short, not a quote by Descartes, but at least it's closer to what Descartes thinks. Number 8 is bad books engender bad habits, but bad habits engender good books. This is quoted in quite a few places and attributed to Descartes, but you can't find it in Descartes' works, and it's not something that would make sense for him to say. Or rather, the first part of it is something that Descartes could say. Bad books engender bad habits. People get not just ideas from books, but the way books are set up could also lead them to certain habits of reading things in certain ways. That's certainly the case. But bad habits engender good books. That is definitely not something that Descartes is going to be committed to. Number 9, any community that gets its laughs by pretending to be idiots will eventually be flooded by actual idiots who mistakenly believe they're in good company. Not remotely a quote by Descartes. As a matter of fact, the source of this may either be Y Combinator, a little bit of chat going on in their forums, or 4chan. So that means this is something very, very recent. Definitely not by Descartes. It may have been attributed to him originally as a joke, and then people who weren't in on the joke picked up on it and started circulating it around. Number 10, similarly, is really weird for anybody to attribute to Descartes. I almost have to keep myself from laughing at this point. You just keep pushing. You just keep pushing. I made every mistake that could be made, but I just kept pushing. That is not something that Descartes would have said. He's much more elegant in how he talks. He doesn't simply repeat himself like that. And this has actually been attributed to a different Rene McPherson, who was a corporate chairman and dean of the Stanford Business School. So how this actually wound up getting attributed to Rene Descartes when it's actually by Rene McPherson, probably some sort of sloppiness, but like all these things, it now circulates around on the internet and people keep re-quoting it. Here's our last and bonus one. So this is not, in a certain sense, a completely fake quote because Descartes did write these words. The Latin bene vixit, bene qui latuit, to live well is to live concealed, or rather, the one who lives well is the one who hides. So he does say in a letter to Mersenne, I want to live in peace and to continue the life I have begun under the motto, bene vixit, bene qui latuit. But who is this actually by? It's not by Descartes. It is originally Ovid who is saying this, and Descartes just happens to have a classical education, as does Mersenne, and they know this little quip, which seems to fit Descartes' mindset well, at least on certain things. He didn't remain concealed in a lot of other ways. And so we can say that, yes, technically he did say it, but he wasn't saying it in isolation by itself, and it's somebody else who said it before him. So again, it's sort of like the Delphic maxim, know thyself. If I were to say, I live in accordance with the Delphic maxim, know thyself, you wouldn't attribute that maxim to me as something that I am actually saying as an original idea. So once again, you should always be suspicious of fake quotes on the internet. How can you tell that it's fake? Well, sometimes if you know the author, you can kind of sense that it's off, it doesn't jibe with their works. So you should always exercise some healthy suspicion. Don't repost quotes that you can't actually find the sources to, because there's a good chance you are retransmitting fake quotes and contributing to the ongoing problem. And when people post these sorts of things, ask them for their sources. Where in Descartes did you find this? Or where in anybody else? I also want to give a shout out to two particular sites that are helpful in general, although not so much with Descartes, Folks Tatations and Quote Investigator. There are others out there that can be quite helpful as well, but those are the ones that I'm going to put before you right now. We'll do plenty more of these because there are lots of authors in philosophy who are getting misquoted pretty routinely. So thanks for bearing with me, and if you see these, try not to repost them yourselves, and if you want to go after the people who are posting these, I think you're actually doing a public service.